Equivalency, what a stop!
My goodness, what a save!
What a save! What a glove save there, but what a stop! Looked like a sure goal. You talk about an A+ save and maybe the save of the night.
Welcome to the Goalie Science Podcast, where we break down the science of goaltending, coaching, and everything in between. I'm Dr. Jamie Phillips, former professional goalie, board-certified physical therapist, and goalie performance specialist, alongside my co-host, Derek Boujan, owner of Boujan Goaltending and On Ice Hockey Performance Center. Whether you're on your way to a game, gearing up for practice, or just tuning in, grab your favorite drink and let's drop the puck on this week's episode. Welcome to Goalie Science episode 121. Derek, I'm supposed to ask you, hey, how's your summer training? Hey, you started summer training? I was thinking about that one in the car, cracked myself up. Before we get into it, wow, was last week's episode good?
It was very good. Unlike you, I actually re-listened to them. Number one, get our algorithm and our views up. But number two, because I have to name the podcast. And by the time you asked me on Tuesday what the name of the podcast, I completely forgot what we talked about. So I did go back and listen.
Getting me the name on like today, like the day we record.
Sometimes it happens, yes. I'm a busy person. But anyways, this it was very good. And I've kind of put it as homework to all my goalies in my summer program that I want them to listen to it. And we're actually going to talk about it tonight in our video session. Just the plan was I was going to do some like we talked about video on some hockey, but I think this week is going to be just a little bit different. We're going to do just some mindset stuff and kind of see where everybody is. And the homework for the week is listen to the podcast, subscribe, comment, and like it. And then we'll have a big discussion just about anything in a group setting that they want to talk about in terms of anxiety or fear or goal setting, just stuff that I like, just to give them a little bit of break from me talking so much about the hockey stuff. But it's something I like doing every time. And I usually do it one-on-one, but we're going to try it a little bit. And this summer is about trying different things in our video session. So let's just see how that goes. But it is going back and listening to it. I picked up on a few other things that I did here in the moment because I was trying to process and absorb everything. And Chuck Fuss is he's a good speaker. He knows his stuff, and that was one of the best. Like I said, that was one of the best podcasts that I've ever listened to, and I'm super pumped that it's ours.
Yeah, that is nice when we do a good job or we can pat ourselves on the back. When Chuck and I first met, or I guess met virtually maybe about a month or two ago, we had just a straight up conversation. I wish it was one of those ones that was recorded. But for me, as someone who dealt with like a lot of things like, that we discussed, it was kind of eye-opening. I was like, oh, I wasn't the only one going through these things. Like a lot of these things are normal, and there's a pattern that's normal. And I know we wanted to talk about like different book recommendations and podcast recommendations. Then we talked about it with Chuck after the show, but I want to make sure I get it right. But the book's called Relentless by Tim Grover. I keep saying Glover. Tim Grover. So Tim Grover was Michael Jordan's like trainer, did everything with Michael, worked with Kobe, worked with Dwayne Wade. And it's an interesting book. And it resonated with me because I was like so singularly focused, where everything, and even still, like everything I do is to be the best at whatever it is. My business is working with my athletes, coaching my athletes, playing. That sometimes in the moment that it was hard to relate to a lot of people that would be like, oh, do this, and all these different things that are pulling you in different directions. And this book, Tim breaks down like kind of the mindset of the greats. And obviously this isn't me calling myself the great by any means. I was not. But just that relentless mindset to win at basically at all costs. And hopefully we can get Chuck on again another time, because I want to dive deep into some of these things. And so how if having mindsets where you are so singularly driven, like how can you manage that and still make it like healthy? Because there's definitely a lot of downsides to being so singularly focused in all your work. But But Tim in the book, and I do recommend it against this, it's called Relentless. And he classifies athletes or people in 3 categories. You have coolers, which are people that are just take a step back. All right, I'm gonna let Michael Jordan take the shot, whatever. There are closers, who are people that they want to be the best, but they're always kind of blaming when things don't go right. They're always looking for excuses and blaming others and always second guessing. And then there are cleaners, and cleaners are the LeBron, I mean, not LeBrons, the Michael Jordans, the Dwayne Wades, the Kobe Bryants, who whatever it is, whatever it takes, this is their only focus. They're going to do everything all the time. And there's a lot of things that really resonate with me. So that's one of my book recommendations. I know we can get into it. I went off on a bit of a tangent there, Booge, but for you, I know you've done book clubs in the past, even since when I was younger and we were doing stuff. Do you have like go-to books that you want all your athletes to read?
I do, but I want to touch on one thing you said first about the Relentless thing. And this is when we talk about Michael Jordan and we talk about the guys that were the best of all time, we can't be using them as our reference point, because us as average human beings, we are not Michael Jordan. So for every Michael Jordan there is out there, there's 2 million Jamie Phillips, right? And not saying that you were relentless, but that mentality of this is what I have to do because this is what I watched on the Last Dance episode on Netflix isn't going to translate for 99% of the population out there. So we have to caution ourselves on when we read these books and we read these things, not putting ourselves in those shoes without asking the questions of, am I able to even get there? And that's what I think sometimes we forget about is like, yeah, Michael Jordan is cut from his own cloth. We're not going and reproducing Michael Jordan. We're not going and getting another Kobe Bryant. We can't create a Connor McDavid. The skill set that those guys have is one thing, but then the mindset, like you put those together and then now you have the greatest of all time. So it's one thing to read the books, like the Relentless book and other books that we might talk about, but then understand like, hey, like we're just average people.
Yeah.
And this isn't in athletics. Like if we want to talk about business world and like, I know what you're going to do in the business world, but like I have full confidence, but I just want to, we're like, this is a hockey podcast. Caution, and don't ruin ourselves and our children because we read a book Relentless and we think this is how it's got to be. Same with all those books by who's the Navy SEAL guy?
Jocko Willink.
Jocko Willink, right? Those are unbelievably good reads. They're awesome. But I'm not a Navy SEAL. Like I can take bits and pieces of those and I can utilize those in my daily life, but I don't need to have a wartime mindset because I'm dropping my kids off at Catholic school around the corner, right? Like my life is not set up that I need to have that. Now, are there parts of those that we can take? 100%, absolutely. But let's remember there's one Michael Jordan, there's one Jocko Willink, there's one Jamie Phillips, and there's 10 million Derek Boujans out there. So
that you said it right there, the bits and pieces of all these things, even our podcast and stuff, you take bits and pieces and yeah, like you're not trying to recreate Jocko Willink, Navy SEAL, Afghanistan wartime. You're also not trying to create Magic Johnson's flu game, or not Magic Johnson, excuse me, Michael Jordan flu game. But you are trying to put together the bits and pieces or the tools for you, the listener, to become your best self, whatever that best self is. Now, maybe your best self is like mine was American League goalie. Okay, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Or maybe your best self is to be like such a good grade 7 teacher that all your students just love you because you make sure that your lessons are done on time, you're giving your extra time, you're doing all these things. Like whatever your best self is, that's, I guess, like to be the cooler the cleaner, as Tim Grover would explain it. Doesn't mean it's all in athletics or business. It's finding that singular focus and whatever is going to get you to achieve whatever your goal is going to be, because of the very worst case, if things don't work out, you're still going to be in a better spot than someone who didn't take all those actual steps, that didn't invest in themselves, that didn't, as Jocko Willink would say, like take extreme ownership over their game or their life or whatever it is. And so I think, yeah, hopefully people know it, but I do know that everyone is always looking for like this singular fix. And like before we get into the other books, I'm reading Tim Grover's second book called Winning, and it was post Kobe dying, and it's pretty interesting, but there's a few things that you can take, and like I don't know, you can't really see it because my background's blurry, but like one of the things he said is like he makes a to-do list and he lists everything at number 1. He's like, if I put him at a hierarchy of 1 through 10, then I'm gonna think that 10 is least important than number 1. I got to do all these things today. They're all equally important. Just put them all at number 1. And so like that's something that I took from that book in terms of making my life a little bit easier. And for someone listening, whatever it is, like he talks in this book Winning, where he talks about like athletes that that are partying, drinking, smoking, all these things. He's like, listen, he's like, whatever your vice is, he's like, I'm not going to come in and tell you what you can and can't do as long as it doesn't hurt your performance. And he talks to NBA guys and NFL players, and for him, it's winning is basically the only thing, no matter what it is, whether it's sports, life, or business. But is what you're doing beneficial to your goals, or is it detrimental? And if it's detrimental, then we need to cut it out. But if it's beneficial, then we can leave it in until it becomes detrimental. And I think, again, that's a little bit of extreme, but we've talked about it with a lot of our younger athletes. They want to push to be high-level athletes. They can't go to all the parties. They're going to have to say no to some things. They're going to have to work out in the morning, or like go to bed early and skip the high school party because they have an early morning workout. And those are the choices that you need to make in order to be better. So like reading these books, hopefully you can help people pick some things that they can all like put together their life puzzle towards their goal to make them the best at whatever it is they're trying to be.
No, you had like a lot of good points, and I want to leave it there because I really liked a lot of the stuff you said. And it's funny because like to everybody in the world that is listening to this, they're doing something right now, and I call it's like that's their NHL, right? So you doing Fox Motors goaltending and Mesquite, like that's your NHL. So you are treating that as that is your NHL. You are all in on it. For somebody listening, it might be cutting grass. Like they might have a landscape company, or they might just be a kid that is trying to sell scooters, right? My kid is trying to wheel and deal scooters in the neighborhood. Like that's their NHL, right? Like you laugh, but it's true.
No, I'm just picturing Weston wheeling, because I know your neighbor. I know you live 2 seconds from where I grew up. I just can see Weston wheeling and dealing.
Yeah, I have a scooter factory in my garage. It's insane. But hey, good for him. Like he's researched his products. He knows every scooter that is out there. When guys try to rip him off, he called like he's 9 years old. Like I am genuinely impressed. But like it no matter what you're doing, like it's funny. Like you go to play a men's league slow pitch game, and I played competitive slow pitch for a long time. No big deal. Sounds hilarious, but it it was my NHL. All right. So everything, you go to the games. I wouldn't drink before a tournament weekend, and this is men's league slow pitch and literally beer ball. But that was my NHL. Right. So everybody out there can correlate something to what their NHL is. Like the big fitness trend now, it's moved from CrossFit to what is it, Hydrox or something like that?
Hyrox. That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Hyrox. Like that is so everybody out there who's doing a Hyrox, even if you're doing this just for fitness and not for the competitive aspect, that's your NHL. Like if weightlifting is your thing, if you're a power lifter, that's your NHL. You're not boozing because you want to try and squat 675 pounds. Like find out what your NHL is and go all in. And the to-do list is awesome. I have a to-do list too. They very much carry over from day to day because I miss them because I'm talking to you on the internet. But yeah, no, it's find your NHL. And that's what I say is like, hey, that's your NHL.
JP Morgan, like from the original JP Morgan Chase, had a thing, and I think I'm stealing this from one of the books that I read recently, but back in whatever 2030s when $20,000 was like the equivalent of $1 million. He had a person off say, "Hey, I'm going to send you a letter, and if you open it, and if this is a ticket to becoming wildly successful, I would like you to pay me $20,000." And he says yes. And the letter just said, "Make a to-do list, do all the things on your to-do list." And JP Morgan paid him $20,000. So to-do lists are great, but it just says like just being intentional with everything you're doing. And when it comes to beer league, whether your NHL is beer league hockey or beer league slow pitch, yeah, like if that's your NHL, like take it seriously. If it's not, you don't have to, but if it is, don't be a jerk, which is probably the biggest thing that we see in beer league hockey. Is someone, I didn't even talk about that, as someone who played their first ever men's league tournament 3 weeks ago, and there were fights at 5 p.m. on a Saturday. You don't do that.
It's their NHL, Jamie.
Yeah,
You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth.
That's true. That's true. It not for me. Beer league hockey is not for me. But when I want to go back to your slow pitch, did slow pitch make you a better goalie?
Well, I played competitive. Okay, let's go back. I played elite level baseball growing up. I played for a team they're no longer around. I think they've kind of merged into like a high level AAA team here. But I played for the Canadian Junior Thunderbirds. So we played all over Canada. I was very good. I was a very good baseball player. I had the worst glove hand in the world as a goalie. There was literally no correlation. I was a back catcher, which I think is a terrible idea. If you're a goalie and you're a back catcher in the summer, you are hurting your knees and your bodies and your ankles so much all year round. But I mean, it's usually an easy, seamless transition. If you're a goalie, they want to make you the back catcher, and you're usually pretty good at it. So I get it. But I pitched, I played a little bit of center field, and I played third base. And this goes back to, I had a rant on Instagram about Bill Ranford, who's an NHL goalie coach, going on the Glass Now podcast, which we'll talk about later, and talking about like goalies can't catch anymore because goalies are specializing in goaltending, not being multi-sport athletes. And we just need more goalies that play baseball. Now, taking what he said, if we take it into context, I understand what he's saying. He's saying that we need goalies that play multiple sports. We want goalies that are multi-sport athletes, that are athletic, that are not specializing too early, which is creating goalies that can't catch pucks. But the way he said it was, you can't catch pucks because you don't play you don't play baseball, which those two things don't go like this. And actually, I got into an argument with someone on Instagram yesterday. And what I said was, if you're a centerman, being really good at putting in golf doesn't make you win faceoffs. They could be very similar type of thing, but it doesn't make you better. It doesn't make you worse. No. Does playing golf give you a better slap shot? No. Will it make your slap shot worse? It won't. So it doesn't hurt, but it also doesn't help as much as people say, just play baseball and you'll be able to catch pucks. Like I've coached a lot of goalies that play AAA baseball that cannot catch pucks. And for everybody listening, there's a little pause because Jamie is on the phone right now. He has muted me and he is taking phone calls during the podcast.
Sorry, that one is actually very important.
A better bit of job offer.
It technically sort of was. I'm going to keep a lot of this in. I don't.
So we have breaking news. Jamie is the new goalie coach for the LA Kings.
Yeah, it turns out I have to go watch the Dodgers games and get scouting reports. Sorry, I'm gonna keep all this in because why not?
Yeah, whatever. But I don't know if you muted me.
I muted me, but I didn't hear because I was hoping you were going to continue to rant and buy me some time, and you didn't.
That doesn't. I'm going to call you out. It's what I've done for our entire life. But just back to like I really wanted to talk about a little bit about how like the idea, and we hear this all the time, and it wasn't just Bill Ranford. It was just Bill Ranford was the most recent one that I heard. So I wanted to bring it up. Is like playing baseball isn't going to make you catch pucks better because it is so completely different process of catching pucks and the processing of catching a baseball are not very similar. Will it make you worse? No. Like, should you go outside and play catch with your dad or your buddies? 100%, absolutely, you should. Because number one, you're getting away from a screen, you're getting outside, you're socializing, you're doing some sort of athletic ability or athletic event that will just make you a better all around athlete. But the transferable skills of catching a baseball and catching a puck are very, very different. And a lot of people really got on me on Instagram because I talked about we're taught to catch balls in our palm. And I played 11 years of high level baseball as a third baseman. I used a 10-inch glove, which is very, very small. And any ground ball hit to me, I was taught to catch it in front of me with my glove slightly pointed up so that I could get my hand in and get quick transfer from pocket to hand to throw. It is the exact opposite of catching a puck. We want everything in the pocket, not in the palm. And people are like, oh, if they're teaching you that, no, that's how you watch any Major League Baseball. A ground ball, which is the only type of movement from the ball that would mimic a puck getting shot, right? It's the only one that would be elevated coming up at us into our bodies. Everything else, a line drive is coming down or straight, which wouldn't simulate a puck getting shot. A fly ball is coming down out of the sky from Jesus, is falling. That doesn't simulate a puck. So none of those have any carryover other than just being able to track a moving object, which we can do with other sports.
Yeah. I love this because there's so many things that are going into it, and I love it because it overlaps like the goalie specific training aspect where it's like I do a butterfly on the ice, and if I want to get stronger, therefore I should do a butterfly with a barbell on my back. First, it's okay to do things that aren't directly related to your sport just because you enjoy doing them. I think that's like an important thing we can't like get away from, where it's like, hey, if you like playing baseball, it's okay to play baseball not with the intention of becoming a better goalie. It's okay just to play baseball. I mean, like there's some transient benefits of just being a better athlete and doing things. Yeah, probably. But like the same benefits you're gonna get from playing soccer, playing volleyball. You still have to look at a ball in soccer. You get to look at watch it hit your feet. Can you like in volleyball, you gotta hit your hand. You gotta jump. There's explosiveness. But why aren't they saying, hey, you should play volleyball because it's going to make you more explosive, therefore you're going to be more powerful on the ice? Because like we just get so fixated on like what's going to make us the better goalie, and we're like, okay, this is similar, so if de facto these work. Like you said about taking face off and putting, it's kind of a similar hunched over posture, or like I put in the group chat, we don't go tell forwards, hey, you got to go play lacrosse because the rotational component of shooting a puck and throwing a ball is similar. Therefore, all players need to play lacrosse. Play lacrosse because you want to play lacrosse, and it's good exercise, and you run around, and it's conditioning, and there's a similar layover, but it's fun. That frustrates me. But the biggest thing is if you want to become a better goalie, you need to play more goalie.
Yeah.
Like we think about athletic transfer from strength and training, from playing other sports, whatever it is. There is only one singular one-to-one athletic transfer, and that is your sport. So,
I'm gonna get heat on this one. And I don't care. I'm gonna say this because I've noticed this a lot, especially watching younger kids. Is I think the one sport where being very athletic as a child that doesn't really transfer over to being a good hockey player is hockey. And I see it all the time. Because watching my son go from U8, U9, U10 now to U11 and seeing the best raw athletes that he played with. The kids that go to the track and field and they clean up and they go to school and they can play every sport and be one of the best players. Those are not the best players on his team. And hockey is their primary sport, right? Being a really, really good athlete, I think has the least amount of carryover to hockey.
Okay, that makes okay. I got yes. When you said hockey doesn't make you better at hockey, I got confused there.
Yeah, sorry. I'm saying that you can be the best all-around athlete in a group of 10 kids
Yeah.
And you can all be AAA hockey players. And we go play every other sport. And the best athlete doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be the best hockey player.
Yes. Okay.
At this time, you were a terrible athlete.
Oh, horrible.
Horrible. We played and go back to
Actually, no, Freeze at spike ball. Spike ball is my only other go sport I'm good at.
you are good at spike ball. I will give you that. But for people now, this has now become the Derek Slow Pitch podcast. We had a slow pitch team and you played on it.
Yeah.
And
First time playing baseball organized ever.
And you were a gazelle, you were a monkey on rollerblades, and you were one of the bottom players on our team, and you were on an NHL contract.
Which is funny because like as soon as I got to back, everyone backs up. I just struck out every time.
So like, I mean, like you were horrible at baseball. Very horrible. Like horrible. Like,
Yes.
But that's the thing. Is like I'm a very good all-around athlete. Like a raw athlete, I can play every sport. I can play pretty well. I was not a good goalie. I couldn't catch pucks. And not to pat myself on the back, but there was a point in Hamilton in my early 20s when I would say I was probably the best slow pitch player in Hamilton.
Yes.
By far. Like
weird metric to measure yourself on, but you're not wrong. And you are. It is very frustrating how much of a natural athlete you are and how much you're just strong too. Like when you got into CrossFit years ago, you were good at that. Powerlifting, you were pretty good at that. Like all these things you were very good at. And that is very frustrating as someone who's not a natural athlete. But again, it's like being a specialist versus generalist. And like you misspoke at the start. So hopefully everyone listening, Derek was when I was saying that the only thing that transfers 1-to-1 to hockey is hockey. Like that's why it's okay to try. You want to be good at you want to be as athletic as possible. But if you want to be the best hockey player that you need to be, you need to play your sport. There was an argument that popped up on my social media feed where I think it was Shaq or Charles Barkley, one of those guys, was giving PK Subban a hard time and saying that hockey players are like the least athletic guys. And PK Subban was like, whoa, no, they are like easily. Like hockey players can play soccer and stuff and do these things. As a whole, like LeBron James is probably a better athlete overall. He'd be a horrible hockey player because it's such a specific skill. Like, yeah, Connor McDavid's probably going to be okay at all these, like okay at basketball, okay at these things. He's not going to have that insane level of talent that he has in hockey because hockey is so specifically niched. Same with goaltending. Goaltending is even more niched than being a player. And so if you want to become better at catching pucks, you need to catch pucks. And here's my hot take: not Sensorina. Sensorina, I'm not saying don't buy it. Like if you want to buy it and spend your money, and I'm sure it's helpful to some degree. We can't say how much because we'd have to do like actual studies and stuff. And some people are going to say they love it and some people are going to say they hate it. But nothing's going to replace going out on the ice and stopping pucks. And if you're trying to figure out what to do with your Saturday afternoon, and you're like, I need to do something that's going to make me better at catching pucks. Instead of going to play baseball, which is nothing wrong with that. If you can, put on your gear, sit in a butterfly, and have someone shoot pucks at you and just catch them. That's what Phoenix Copley and I used to do because they took out the ice in the summer at Michigan Tech, and we had like a shooting pad area. And so he and I would put on our gear, we'd sit in our goal line. Player would basically be the equivalent of maybe the bottom hash mark, probably tighter. And we would just say, score on us. And we would just make saves with our hands, That's pretty darn specific. But, everyone thinks that because you catch a ball and you catch a puck, therefore they are equivalent of value. And we just completely ignore everything he said. We have Jesus falling from the sky. We got ground balls. We got all these different things.
Well, how many pucks do we catch when we're running? Like
I've actually caught 0 pucks when running. I don't know about you. I don't think I've actually run on the ice. I fall if I try to run on the ice.
Like this is the thing is like if you're playing catch, you're standing still. Okay, if we're playing catch with somebody, we're standing still, but the ball is still coming down, which is the opposite of a puck coming up. Okay, Yes. Does it have watch the ball, watch it in your hand? Okay, sure. We can build those skills, but we can build those skills playing racquetball, playing ping pong, playing pickleball, where we can add in like first step, first speed, stuff like that. Yeah, okay. That baseball has that too. I get that. And what we're saying, and this is what people really jumped on me for, and I don't care if people jump on me. It's we're not saying any of these things are going to make you worse. We're saying do these things, have fun with these things, but don't do these things thinking I can't catch pucks. I just have to go play baseball, or that's the fix, right? Sense Arena, like we agree on it. It's not bad. It's not something that you shouldn't do. But if you have the option to go and skate, go and skate. It doesn't replace the training. It doesn't replace skating. That's the one thing.
That's where people, and then everyone gets hot and bothered and stuff. And another thing, hopefully people are listening and hot and bothered and they're commenting all their comments down below and boosting the algorithm. But I'm going to come out with a series of videos and newsletters, like kind of talking about this. And hopefully if Ben has a little bit of time, I'd love to steal a little bit of Ben's attention. This is just straight out of sports science 101.
Yes.
Like, it really is. And you get, and someone who listen and be like, I played baseball and I never missed a puck in my entire life. Sweet. Baseball probably didn't make you good at catching pucks. You were probably just good at catching pucks. And like,
yeah, some people are just good at it.
Yeah, it's like juggling.
Some people, it's just their physiology and their brain, they're good at it.
They're just better than other people. It's like I can't, like, hopefully we get Ackerman on again. Like I love getting him riled up about juggling, because everyone will be like, goalies need to juggle and do these things. Yeah, juggling's great because like good little warm up. It gets your hands going, it gets you engaged, gets you focused. Juggling isn't going to make you better at tracking pucks.
No.
It might warm your eyes up slightly and get a little bit of muscle activation so that you're not cold, and so when a puck comes, you're a little bit more ready. But that's like, I don't even have like a metaphor to compare that to, because it to me it blows my mind. But I mean I get it. I get where people would say those things. But that one's that's a wild one. And then I love the argument where the straw man is, well, Bill Renford's in the NHL and you're not. What? What does that have to do with anything? Bill Renford was throwing 2-pad stacks when he probably shouldn't have been. So, like there's so many different things that just, it cracks me up. Again, like going, if you want to have a wider butterfly, you probably don't need to do butterfly power clean, butterfly jerks. Like, it's not what you need to do, yet someone's going to say like, I need to make it as specific as possible. It's like training. We're not training you to make you a better hockey player. We're training you to build.
Hang on a second. You gotta clarify when you say training right now.
Working out.
You're talking off ice in the
place. Sorry, on the ice, yes. On the ice, yes. As specific as we get. But off the ice, we're not trying to make you a better hockey player. We're trying to build the physical attributes that go into your sport being hockey. And we're trying to build those as best as possible so that you can take those attributes and transfer them to your sport on the ice. That's it. We're not trying to replicate your sport. Okay, rotational power. Yeah, we need to shoot. Okay, we might be doing some sort of like Kaiser chop. I'm not doing a Kaiser chop because I'm improving your shot. In fact, the shooting mechanics is going to be completely different. When are you shooting with resistance? Never. Maybe someone's hooking you, but never. Doesn't mean that the rotational component isn't important and isn't going to help you downstream because you can rotate faster with more control. But to be like, this is going to make your shot better, that's just marketing. It's just marketing, gimmicky marketing stuff.
I got a question, because you hit, so remember when you say with resistance? Yeah, I get it. Agree. So the reason, and the guys that score the most amount of goals in the shots are two things. Number one, it's on and off their stick quickly.
Yeah.
Right. This is an undebatable fact. The less time the puck is on your stick, the higher chance you have to score.
Yes.
Number two, it's deception.
Yes.
The goalies have a harder time picking up where the puck is going off of the stick blade, have a harder time making the save. Undebatable fact. Okay, those two things. So back to, and I do, like I've said before, I'm doing a lot of player development, and weighted pucks is a thing that people love to do, and the Kaiser with resistance,
Mhm.
and this comes back to the running with the parachute. All of these things change the motor pattern and they change your technique. And people do them because they see them on the internet and they think it's a good idea. And okay, if you want, like, I won't let anybody shoot weighted pucks in my classes. We'll do we'll do weighted pucks for some stick handling. We'll do some weighted pucks for receiving passes. I will not let anybody shoot a weighted puck because it changes the technique, it changes the way the stick flexes, and it changes the overall motor function of how they're shooting pucks. And that's what people, you're right, like power clean butterflies and all this sports specific training that is advertised and commercialized and promoted to these athletes, and the parents see it and it looks cool and they spend their money on it, and it's absolute trash. It doesn't work. Or if it does work, like maybe it doesn't hurt, but it doesn't help.
Very rarely are there any things that are going to hurt. Actually, you know what? Straight up, power clean butterflies definitely is going to hurt you. Straight, don't do that. Um, but like using like apparatus, like these different apparatuses, it it depends on the devil's in the details, right? Like you said, weighted pucks. You're not having your players shoot weighted pucks, but there is a little bit of there is a value to receiving a weighted puck and not letting it pull you back. Being able to maybe like handle it and without that resistance back, or a Kaiser jump, or like sprinting with like a parachute. It depends. Like, do you want when training acceleration? Do you want resistance for your first 3 to 6 strides? Yes, you do, because you're trying to acceleration, whether we're on the ice or off the ice, you're having these horizontal forces. These horizontal forces then get turned into vertical forces. So when you are training off the gate, you're trying to improve either a goalie's push or a forward's first few strides. Yeah, like you do want to sprint with resistance. You do want to sprint uphill, but you're trying to improve the ability to basically to generate a lot of force into the ground with a longer ground contact time. Like when you're for hockey players, when you are, when you're starting to take off with a shift, like McDavid, unbelievably fast. He's unbelievably fast acceleration. His blades are on the ice longer at the start than they are when he's at peak speeds. So you have to train those very, very different. Now, McDavid, for him, you're not going to put a sled and say you're going to run for 100 meters with this sled, because that's when things are going to get messed up. But you can put a sled on him and say, you are going to run for 5 meters, 10 meters, explode out of the gate. And that's when you get into actual like strength training and sports science, which is why you don't go to gimmicky people. You try to go to people that know what they're doing. But it just you have to know why you're doing things. Swivel vision, talked about it before. Like Adrian was saying, like most people struggle because they get tunnel vision. We don't want to do more tunnel vision. We want to expand their vision. Now, if someone's having a problem, really focusing on the puck, because they're getting distracted by what's going on, then yeah, swivel vision might be a tool that helps them to get kind of focused on that puck. But you'll see people be like, swivel vision day. And I did this too. I was guilty of this. I know what I was guilty of a little bit. I had a goalie at Tech who could not stay focused on the puck. So I did give him swivel vision. I probably shouldn't, looking back. But in morning skates, I said, you have to skate the swivel vision on, because he just couldn't track that. He couldn't track on pucks. He was just really struggling. But you'll see they'll just take a goalie for no reason and be like, you're wearing swivel vision today.
Now, so this is my argument too, and I can't remember if I said this statement. If the swivel vision is a reminder for what his process has to be that day, then it works.
Yes.
Right? He knows that he's wearing swivel vision. That is a constant reminder throughout the entire skate that I'm wearing these swivel vision goggles because my focus has to be on following the puck.
Yes.
So anecdotally, it might work. Scientifically, maybe the science says, no, this doesn't work. But it will work for that athlete for that purpose sometimes. And that is on the coach to understand how to manipulate that mindset for the athlete.
Yeah. And we're on the internet. I would say we're both a little bit Instagram coaches, but we're Instagram coaches as a whole. or any coaches, we get shiny object syndrome. When something comes out that's new, we're always like, oh, this is great, we gotta try it, instead of like thinking critically a little bit and like looking at it. There was a comment on one of the posts you made, maybe it was on YouTube or the Instagram, about the phones, like not having your phone. And someone commented, they're like, this is wrong because I wear my visual edge before I play, and my tracking's never been better. First of all, cool. Keep doing it. If that works for you, that works for you. But like, you're not this. All the evidence and research isn't wrong because it works for you. Maybe you're just not really good at warming up, and wearing visual edge is a warm up because now you're focused on an object. But for everyone else, being on their phone or using visual edge might not be visual edge or whatever it is, might not be the thing that benefits you because you're looking at a screen and there are downsides to that screen. So maybe you probably would be better off of just juggling a ball off the wall. Like, there's so many different things that go into it, and it gets frustrating because I like your point, but it was comical to see a lot of the comments on it saying that you were wrong when the arguments were like the most mental gymnastics that were going on in order to get to the answer. It's like 2 + 2 = 4, but it only equals 4 because 6 × 12 + 27 and all these other like things that just aren't even related somehow equal 1 or equal 2. Sorry, equal 4.
You just made me do mental gymnastics.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm confused.
Okay, I just want, before we move on, I want to talk. So we talked a lot about like catching, and we talked a lot about baseball. And there's one thing that I did steal, and I stole this from I saw a YouTube video a few years back of a baseball player that had a hard time understanding where the strike zone was. So what his hitting coach did, he had him in the box, and he had a pitcher, and he had no bat. He just stood in the box, and the pitcher would throw all the different variations of pitches: curveballs, sliders, changeup, and fastball. So anybody who doesn't know anything about baseball, when they throw a different pitch, the rotation of the ball changes. So a fastball and a curveball will spin differently. A slider will spin differently. So what players who play high level baseball have to do is they have to focus on the rotation of the baseball. And that helps them identify what pitch has been thrown. So this video that I saw was the batter was in the box. The pitcher threw the batter had to call out what pitch it was by reading the rotation, and then identify if it was going to be a ball or a strike. And he would do this maybe 30 to 35 pitches every single day in the morning before he would do anything else. And he did that for over a course of a period of time. And that's all he did every day. And I can't remember the player or the team. It was something I just randomly saw. And the improvement of that guy's strike zone awareness improved quite a bit. So I, like every good goalie coach, I stole this and I pretended that it was my idea. And I did the same thing with the goalies. So goalies that struggled with processing, I would put them in a butterfly. I'd set up 30 pucks. I'd shoot at about 30 to 35%. And they would have to call out location of the shot and trajectory. So glove, blocker, middle, high, mid, low. And all they did was they watched the puck. And before the puck got to them, I wanted them to yell it out. Now, all this did, whether scientifically, whether or not they were actually able to do this, but it made them isolate what they were working on and watch the puck come off the stick. And this was one of the best fixes I ever had for teaching guys to use their hands, because they didn't have to think about being patient because they were on their knees. I wasn't trying to score. And all they did was isolate watching the puck off the stick. And this was something that I stole from baseball. So, like, I'm not against taking and using other sports to help as goalies. But my main point was, let's not just go, can't catch, add baseball, I'm awesome now.
Well, I love this because hopefully I coined this, but root cause versus symptom goaltending is how I describe it. You're a goalie that can't catch. That's the symptom. Why can't he catch? There's a lot of things that could be. Okay. It's like your back hurts. That's the symptom. Pain in your back. Why does it hurt? Does it hurt because it's weak, it's tight, because you have like a disc bulge, some sort of herniation, the spondy, whatever? Or it's like, well, back hurts, and said, no more pain, fix your back pain. That's like the equivalent of saying, I can't catch to my glove. Okay, go in the net. I'm shooting 50 pucks at your glove. Oh, you caught 40 of them. You can catch. Well, you didn't fix the root cause. You're working on the symptom, and that's, you love this because I'm trying my best to keep a level head. And like a good goalie coach, I stole everything from you. I have a goalie, a junior A guy who really struggles finding, like we probably put this under like multi-object tracking, but whenever a puck is being dragged through traffic or he's losing it slightly, he gets very rigid and then he doesn't track it well. So we did the colored pucks, and I had him behind the hidden colored pucks, pull him out, and he has to call it the color as he's making the save. One, it's a little bit of processing, but it forces him to have to isolate that puck very quickly from as soon as it's exposed, which is what he struggled with normal black pucks. Now, I'm not using colored pucks because, oh, it's different and therefore you have to focus harder. No, I'm using colored pucks because I need to have it. I need there to be a randomness in it in order to make him focus on finding this puck quickly and isolating it and identifying it. Yes, we do the same thing with black pucks, but if I shoot at 60% with this, it just, like it emphasizes or highlights the focus, which will hopefully have carry on after. But again, like symptom versus root cause goaltending. And I think I want to add here before we move on to our last thing, because like I do have to go a little bit after 10, is I do think the biggest reason, and you talked about it too, the biggest reason the goalies can't catch is we coach it out of goalies. One, we coach it out of goalies by over coaching, by saying your glove has to be here, always here. And two, we do too much simple stuff where it's step out, I'm shooting glove. No, stop that. Like, don't do that unless it is a straight up warm up. So mad I threw my pen. Unless it's a straight up warm up, like where you're saying, hey, we're gonna do like 2 minutes of just getting your gloves or hands connected, and then we're gonna get into it. You know, I'll do high, mid, low, or like, hey, we're going high glove, mid glove, low glove, high blocker, mid blocker, low blocker. Okay, we do 35 seconds of that, and then we get into our main drills. But the ability to process and understand and read the release and do all these things, that is what makes goaltending. Goaltending is not this structured thing where you're, okay, key push, step out, I'm shooting blocker, make a save, follow your rebound. No, even with kids, don't do that. I don't do it with my kids anymore, where it's come out. Or I'm just gonna say, I'm shooting blocker side. That's the only thing that I'll tell, like with the young kids, like I'm going blocker side. Could be high, could be low. Go on blocker side. If you're cheating, I'm gonna shoot glove side. And then at least they have to, the youngest kids, they have some element of processing where they have to be able to understand, okay, is the puck high? Is it low? Like, you know, stick saves. I have a lot of my boys cannot make stick saves. I'm trying. I'm still working on it. But it's hard for me because it's easy to think stick saves. Okay, I'm going to shoot all these pucks low, either side, make your save. Yeah, but so the player's not coming down on a 2-on-1 and saying, hey, I'm shooting this off your far pad. I need them to be able to track. Oh, yeah, it's true. I'm going to point and call a shot. I need to be able to think and be able to react with my stick when it's low because I've made that track and that process. And I think that, in my opinion, that is the biggest disservice that we do to our goalies, is by making our training too structured and easy. And this goes back to what, 2-3 weeks ago we talked about doing hard stuff.
Yeah, this is my perfect analogy for catching pucks. And you're right. I've said it forever. We coach goalies not to catch pucks. The second Canada stopped catching pucks was the second Canada had 5,000 goalie coaches that all had to compete for dollars. And we all had to, and we focused on technique, and we coached them. And I said this, and Ben disagreed with me, like always, that's fine. But at the end of the year, or you take any of your buddies and you put them in net at Shinny and you shoot, they windmill the living crap out of you. They catch everything. You shoot low blocker, it's in the net. You shoot 5-hole, it's in the net. You pass, it's in the net. But you come down and you rip a puck, high glove, they're going to windmill. They catch everything. So why can the guy who's never done goalie lesson in the world catch everything, but the goalies that do 15 hours a week in training can't catch the puck? Because we've ruined it. We've ruined their ability to catch pucks. So I had a dad of a, I don't know, 8-year-old, 9-year-old. I wasn't running the class. I was just kind of walking by, and he's like, he's not holding his glove properly. He's kind of have it like he had kind of not Ben Scrimmins, but a little bit Ben Scrimmins-y. And like, is he catching the puck? He's like, yeah, he catches everything, but like, it just doesn't look like all the other goalies. I go, so what? Who cares where he holds his gloves if it works? But he'll go to a goalie coach, and we're going to move it to 1.6 angle degree dimension this way, and it has to be projected at a 13-degree angle down to the puck, and that's how you properly, most efficiently move your glove. And then I'll rip it below his elbow and some anatomy because they can't move their glove, or they just push their glove straight out, not to where the puck is going, because we coach them. Yeah. So I would say, if you want to catch more pucks, play baseball and don't do goalie training.
That seems like the best possible way to catch more pucks is just actually the best. You know, the best way to not get scored on? Just don't play goalie. Go play baseball. Be a baseball player. You'll never get scored on. It's great. Your goals against is going to be unbelievable.
It sounds just like my father. If you never get scored on, your team's never going to lose. Man, I never thought of that.
Damn. Stuart Skinner would have 2 Stanley Cups now if he just didn't get scored on.
It's pretty simple.
The math doesn't lie.
You want to do our? You got time to do our books, or you want to say?
Yeah. We got time to do parting shots or
Parting shots? No, I don't think so. I don't think I have any parting shots. I do want to do, like, next week. I do want to talk about the Bauer gear that we didn't get to today.
I need to talk about my hyperlight or a flylight stuff too next week as well.
Actually, I do have one parting shot. I'm sorry. So my OHL goalie, his name's Hayden Jeffrey, skates with me every Monday night. He's doing the exact same drills as my 9-year-old AAA group, skating, options, traffic. And I said to him, same thing. Saves will be a premium all summer. So we're going to be 4. He finally, I think a light bulb went off in his head this week. And he's a kid who wanted analysis on every single shot.
Mhm.
And I don't do it. I don't give it to him. And he's like, well, so I'm doing something. I'm like, I'm shooting with traffic, with pass options, 12 feet away from me. I'm going to score. I'm going to score a lot. And this week, finally, he's like, yeah, I'm getting scored a lot, but I feel really good. I'm seeing the puck. I'm reading the options. I haven't made a misread once. I'm on it. I'm just getting scored. He's like, but I feel really, really good. And I'm like, about time. Like, you're finally understanding. You're going to get scored on in traffic. You're going to get scored on with options. You're going to get scored on in scoring opportunities. You're going to get scored on in training. And this was a kid, like, he wanted analysis on everything. And I think he finally is letting that go. And he's doing the exact same drills as the 9-year-olds.
That's no wasted reps and no easy saves. It's been kind of the motto and carrying over. And like you said, I have some goalies too. As soon as they get scored, they just look at you like, what I do. And then I just say, what do you think you did? Well, I don't know. You tell me.
Figure it out yourself, guys. You got to problem solve.
Like, toe dragging. I am 32 years old and you are a 13-year-old girl, and I'm toe dragging through traffic and there is a backdoor pass option and I happen to go bar down.
And you've spent 15 seconds thinking about what you want to do before the drill started because you knew you were getting the puck. It doesn't happen organically like it would in a game.
Yeah.
And that's what these guys can't figure out. I was like, I'm standing there knowing what I'm going to try because I have no pressure. And I have time to think and try. And I'll try it 5 or 6 times until I get it right.
Yeah.
But in a game, like, it should be significantly harder than in a game.
Yes. That is a good parting shot. My parting shot, we talked a little bit about books. This one is a different book. It's called Legacy by James Kerr. He is the New Zealand All Blacks manager, or was New Zealand's All Black manager. It is easily the best book I think any athlete can read, because it's a little different than Tim Grover's, where it's all like intention and stuff, but it's about being a good teammate, a good person, how to build and foster leadership and all these things. And it's going to be one of those books that, like, I'm going to put like a book nook, grab a book, take a book, outside the gym. and I'm gonna have it stacked full of this book because it's fantastic. And it is available if you have Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify. I don't know if Apple Podcasts, Apple Music has audiobooks. It's available for free on Spotify as an audiobook too. So now you actually have no excuses because it costs you $0 to go read it. But it's one of those ones where I did listen to it first and then I bought the hard copy and read it and took notes. It's
That's awesome.
unbelievable. Everyone, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
What about my book? What, I'm not cool enough? I don't.
Oh, but that was your party shot. Wait, what do you want?
No.
Okay. Derek gets a book recommendation now too.
Listen, just because you think I can't read doesn't mean I can't read. I listen to a bit.
Dude, let's not forget, Derek wrote a book years ago and never.
I didn't write a book. I did write.
Old book.
I don't know if he listens to this because he's now retired, so I don't know. But shout out to Adam Harris, one of my. He's in his mid-20s, just finished his college career. I think he's retired. But the best book that I've ever written, I recommend this highly. It's called Ego is the Enemy. And it's written by Ryan Holiday. And it is just kind of a collection of short stories through history about how ego has destroyed people and destroyed ideas and destroyed movements, and how ego in your everyday life can destroy your game and you as a person. And the reason I gave Adam a share was because I lent this to Adam and I never got it back about 7 years ago because I passed this around to all my goalies for a long time. And then it was MIA because Adam took it. But Ego is the Enemy, #1 recommended book by me. It is unbelievable. And if you just want to read and enjoy and like kind of just enjoy read, Future Great and Heartbreaks. It's by Garrett Joyce, and it follows the Columbus Blue Jackets draft, I think in 2006, if I remember right. He's a author who followed the scouting staff and went through the entire year of scouting players for the draft, and it goes through the draft, and it is awesome. It's a super cool inside look. Future Greats and Heartbreaks, and Ego is the Enemy.
Awesome, everyone. Thanks for listening. We do expect to get commission on these Amazon book sales. Like, if you disagree with Derek and my take on our baseball, let us know in the comments. Let us know on Instagram. Just pump that algorithm up for us. But we do appreciate it. The biggest thing that helps is sharing the podcast with other goalies, goalie parents, hockey parents, non-sporting parents. It does help. It goes a long way, and it helps keep parents and goalies from doing dumb things, which they will always do. But if a few of them do less dumb things, we're happy with our lives. We'll see everyone next week.